It's kind of hard to express in words. But you know, I asked you, how do you join the dots? How does it then follow from you admitting that value judgments are subjective to claiming some kind of universal morality?
RE-graytex, thank you for your response, and you are extremely articulate in what you believe, and we agree probably completely in everything that you said. We may deviate a little bit. In my video, I was actually semi-defending Sam Harris's position. I don't totally agree with it. I may have said or given the impression that I did. I liked his argument because it made me think of other things and try and solidify my own ideas. But I was defending Sam Harris's argument about the universal and how he set it up. Because he didn't just say objectively moral, or a morality that exists independent of us, and no matter what happens, this is bad and this is good. He wasn't saying that. He had set up a premise into which he said, if we can all agree that there is an absolute worst, we can take that as a universal understanding. And this is just how I interpreted it. I guess maybe I'm a little off. But if you can start with that understanding, a general understanding, then you can go from there and pick one. And that would be true in a perfect world where you could get a consensus and everybody could agree on the absolute worst. So you're absolutely right. There is no universal or objective morality. I would never, ever argue that. That's not something I've ever believed. People, and I'm glad there isn't, because that way we can get better. We can choose better morals as we evolve and times change and people change. So that's fantastic. That's why we're not running under Sharia law here yet. Keep my fingers crossed about that. No, the issue I have with, I guess the argument is for, or my issue is not, or dismissing using science as the metric for deciding what is morally better or morally worse. It's hard to frame my issue, because that is Sam Harris's, don't know what I'm thinking. That is his position, is science can determine a better moral standard. And I have to believe that, or I don't have to, but I do believe that. But not as science stands now, and not as, 2 + 2 = 4, therefore murder's bad. I don't think that is the science. I don't even think we're really there yet. But my issue with dismissing science and logic to decide what's morally right or what's morally better in general, because I don't believe in absolutes either. No moral, no objective, and no absolutes. So I think we do agree on that. I'm pretty sure we're on the same level with that. But not using science. What, and I'm not going to accuse you of this because I know that you're not doing this either. It's just frustrating to me when people dismiss science. What is it exactly that people think we use to decide what's morally right and wrong for ourselves and for others? What mechanism does society and humanity use to determine for themselves, subjectively, what is right and wrong? There's science and philosophy. I'm going to bundle those two because they're pretty much the same thing. They just deal with slightly different subject matter. And the other would be God? and I'm pretty sure you're not on that side either, but really there is science and then there's magic. One of those, and that might be a false dichotomy, but that's what we have to work with right now because there isn't anything else. Our brains work logically. We have the most advanced chemical, electrical computer in the universe that we know of, right between our ears. It doesn't work off magic. It doesn't work off, pixie dust and unicorn horns and whatever. It's not magic. It's logic. It's ones and zeros and probably twos. There's a maybe there. And there's chemical reactions. It's all biological and physical. It's logical. You can get some illogical information in the computer, which makes you, have some really weird ideas. Creationism, for one. But science is the answer. How you apply it can be argued about. You can also argue that it's not absolute because reality isn't absolute. So one person's idea of what is real can be very different from what another person's idea of what is real. So there is going to be subjectivity, but science is what we use to determine what our moral values are. Magic doesn't do it. God doesn't say from up above, this is right and this is wrong. And even if he did, that was one of my other arguments, even if God did say, and we knew he was real and all that, even if he did say what was right and what was wrong, it would be subjective to him, and he would use science to determine, or his processing of what would be morally right and wrong would be based in a scientific method of some sort, even if we don't understand it. Magic doesn't exist. The only magic that is real is a science that you don't yet understand. If you knew how, as an example, if Jesus existed and he went, poof, this water is wine, you would go, wow, that's magic. Miracle. Good stuff there. But if you ask how, and Jesus was able to go, oh, well, you take this molecule and you hold it in your fingers and you do this and you have this particular organ that turns this energy and then poof, see, that's how it works. And you'd go, oh, so it's not magic, it's science. See, and I know, again, you're not saying anything like this, but that's my beef with people that have an issue with science determining morality. That's what we already use. We just use it on a level that's a lot more subtle than the science we have today. Because our brains work on scientific principles. All the physical principles that exist in the universe, our brain uses and has to act in to determine our own personal, even your own personal values. You've decided what's good and bad in your head for whatever reasons you have, just as I have. We didn't use magic fairy dust to determine this. We didn't have it dictated to us by a objective super being. We took in what our parents said and what we saw in society and some of the stuff we learned, and then we integrated that into our own computer program, and then our own personal value system trickles down the pachinko machine, and then boom, this is good, this is bad, and that can also be changed. So again, I don't believe in a universal or objective morality. I was defending Sam's intention of saying that science is what will be what is the determining value of morality, because it is. It's either science or magic, and magic doesn't exist. It's just science we don't understand. So it is science. It's just our heads, our brains, life is way more subtle than our science that we understand right now. So thank you for the response. It was fantastic, and you came off a little more solid in your ideas than I am. I'm still bouncing crap around in my head. So again, thank you for the response, and have a wonderful day.